Welcome to this Tutor to You Criminology video for WJEC Level 3 Criminology. In this video, we're going to examine sociological theories of criminality for assessment criteria 2.3, focusing on structural theory and the work of Emil Durkheim. Structural theories of criminality focus on how society's structure causes individuals to commit crime, and how individuals react to criminal behaviour. Structural theories are top-down approaches to studying society, suggesting social forces influence individuals' behaviour. They can be broken down into consensus theories, such as functionalism, that suggests that different social institutions in society work together to enable society to function harmoniously, and also conflict theories, such as Marxism, that suggest society's structure is unequal, and that there is a conflict between different groups in society, with one group holding power and looking to control other groups in society. In this video, we're going to focus on the work of prominent functionist Emil Durkheim, whose work on crime is still used to analyse criminality in the 21st century. In contrast to other theories of crime, Durkheim saw crime as having both positive and negative functions for society. Crime, he argued, altered the norms and values of society and allowed society to continue to evolve. However, he also outlined the impact of what happens if there is too much crime, particularly focusing on how rapid change to the norms and values of society can cause anomie, a sense that norms and values of society no longer matter. This can lead society to decay. For Durkheim, there was an optimum level of crime to help society function. Too much could lead to social breakdown, too little and society would stagnate. However, this optimum level was never defined, leading some to criticise his ideas. An impact of crime according to Durkheim that benefits society is boundary maintenance. Durkheim suggested that when particularly heinous crimes are committed, society unites to condemn those that have committed the crime. This can be seen in the aftermath of crimes such as murder or terrorism. For example, following the Manchester bombings, the city, and many others in the UK, united to come together to refuse to bow down to terrorism. It can also be seen with vigils following the murder of Sarah Everard. In coming together, people reaffirm their commitment to society's norms and values, vowing to make sure acts like those mentioned never happen again. Despite this being a positive function of crime, Durkheim is criticised for failing to see the impacts of crime on the victims, instead only focusing on how crime serves society. A further function of crime according to Durkheim is adaptation and change. Social change is caused by people deviating from the norms and values of society, particularly those that are seen as outdated or discriminatory against certain groups. Deviance often takes the form of crime. For example, segregation in the USA was ended by protests against the inequalities that Black Americans faced, including breaking laws that discriminated against Black Americans, what were known as the Jim Crow laws. The public support for these actions, despite being illegal, demonstrated changing attitudes and indicated that there needed to be a change in society. This is a positive function of crime according to Durkheim, and one that changes society for the better. It can also be evidenced through changing attitudes to activities such as drug use, with the growing decriminalisation of cannabis in the USA and many states as a result of changing social attitudes. A final function of crime is that it both warns us that society is stagnating and allows individuals to release tensions. Functionists argue that some crimes, particularly moral crimes such as prostitution, allow men to release their sexual frustrations in a controlled way, which will not harm their families. Other crimes such as gambling have similar benefits according to functionalists. However, crime can also be seen as a warning sign that society is not functioning. High levels of crime, for example theft or fraud, indicate that society's structure is unequal, and this needs to be rebalanced. Furthermore, protests are seen as a sign of changing norms and values, and whilst many forms of protest are legal, others may break the law in order to highlight issues. For example, recent protests by Extinction Rebellion over the use of fossil fuels in the UK. A strength of Durkheim's views of how crime impacts on society is that it acknowledges that some crime is beneficial for society, and his work can be applied to the ways in which people react to crime, with these ideas remaining relevant in contemporary society. However, as an explanation of how crime occurs, Durkheim's work is limited. He also fails to acknowledge how much and what types of crime are beneficial to society, largely focusing on the impacts of crime rather than the causes. Finally, Durkheim has been criticised for ignoring the victims of crime, seeing crime as being functional without considering the cost to those individuals who are subject to criminal acts.